And just like that, Cobra Kai is over. What a long and great journey. We had some great character arcs, some great moments, and just following up Karate Kid after all these years is a fantastic idea, and now that show is finally over. So how was Cobra Kai's last 5 episodes? Well, let's talk about it. Now, this was split into 3 parts. And now if you ask me, this was the best part out of all 3 of them. These 5 episodes to me had the best writing out of all of them, had the best moments out of all of them, and just wrapped up the show as a whole in a fantastic way. And I'm about to dive into all of that. These last 5 episodes do a great job at wrapping up the show, closing off all these characters, showing where their future's going, but ends all their stories off in a satisfying and emotional way. Character arcs are finished. You just care for the characters as their stories just end. And you're saying one last goodbye to all these characters and the show. Even after the satisfying moments that these last 5 episodes gave, it gives even more reason for this emotional send-off. And I'm glad the show ended off in the right way, even though the first 2 parts weren't fully won over for me. And the tournament, the Sekai Taikai, makes for a great end to the season. Now, if you ask me, Cobra Kai should have ended with season 5. Cobra Kai was taken down, and if you rewrit some things, you could have basically made this ending that I liked and added it onto that. Cobra Kai could have easily ended at season 5, but the tournament of the season kind of made it more entertaining and made some moments in the season worth it and worth the season 6. Although I have a lot of problems, which I will dive into later on, just the tournament part of it makes the season worth it in the end. Without the tournament, the season wouldn't be the same. If Cobra Kai just came back to life again, it would have kind of been the same thing over again. Although we kind of got that, but not in the way that, Silver would have done it, or Kreese. So I'm glad we went for the tournament direction, because the tournament just makes for a thrilling final season. Although we know how the fights are going to go, we obviously know the main characters are going to win, the show still is able to make the fights and karate tournaments just suspenseful and thrilling, because we come across new things that these characters have to face. The show just does a good job at keeping you on your toes, keeping you in suspense. Even though you know the main characters are going to win, the show is still able to keep you in that suspense. Now, the high moments of the season are the high moments of the season. They're the highlights. All the emotional payoff, the final tournament, the final time with these characters, all the high moments of the season stand out and kind of overshadow all the bad stuff. Because when I think of these last 5 episodes, I think of all the great stuff. I don't think of all the problems that I had. I think of everything that I liked. Although this entire season was basically weak in my opinion, with writing and the direction that they were going, like I mentioned, the high moments are high and overthrow all of that. And this season just ends off in a worthy way that pays off these characters and wraps up the show in a satisfying way. Like I said, high moments overthrow the bad stuff, and there's still a lot of bad stuff, so let's dive into that. The first few episodes of the season are slow. We're basically diving back into the world after 3 months? A lot of time jumps after the brawl that the tournament had in Barcelona. So everything's just starting off as a slow start. Now the slow start is forgotten about once we actually get to the tournament and all the payoff. But this part can start pretty slowly, just because we're getting back into the groove of things. Now this part feels like part 1 and part 2 combined. We have the writing of part 1, where it's not the greatest writing, but then we still have the suspenseful moments, we still have the karate fights of part 2. So we take basically the highlights of both parts and combine them together, but we still have the problems of both of those parts. For example, we still have the pacing and story issue. The pacing in this entire show has been all over the place. Sometimes we have random time jumps that just jump entirely a month, and there's a bunch of stuff we're missing, bunch of context pieces that are kind of just summarized in a bit of dialogue, and I feel like we needed to actually see that. And then there's also writing issues that I have. such as the show ended with season 5 for me, and that's where most character arcs were wrapped up. So when you get to season 6, there's no more character arcs to tell. So you're just undoing some of those character arcs. Like Johnny and Daniel in part 1 where they said they're done working together. Well, guess what? You got over each other's ways and learned to work together in season 4 and 5. So now you're undoing that again. I understand people can fight, but that's not really how you write a show. It feels like we've done this before. It's because we have. We already paid off Miguel's story arc. We already paid off Tori, Johnny, Daniel. We already paid off all these characters. So yes, it's fun seeing all these moments be paid off again in an emotional way for the final season. Guess what? We've already done this before. We've been here, season 4, season 5. We've done this already. All these character arcs have already been paid off. Yes, it's fun seeing this tournament, but like I said, all these have been paid off before, and it just feels like a repeat of what came before. But you're just seeing it again, one last time. So although Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 isn't bad, we've just seen everything before. It follows the same issues as Part 1 and 2, but still keeping all the great stuff about those seasons and still giving us a satisfying ending to the show. It's still able to make the ending emotional and pay everything off. Although we've been through all this before, all these character arcs are already wrapped up, but still, we're saying bye to the show, and that's exactly what Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 did. But hey, if you want to see my ranking of all the seasons of Cobra Kai, you can find that video right here, or some other video right down here. But with that, thanks for watching.